Hello students, today I am going to talk on DNA structure. There are two classes of nucleic acid, DNA, that is deoxyribonucleic acid. It's the carrier of genetic information, and RNA, ribonucleic acid. It's an intermediate in the expression of genetic information and have other diverse roles. DNA is found in nucleus with small amount also found in mitochondria and chloroplast, while RNA is found throughout the cell. Let's see what's the functions of DNA. They are the chemical basis of heredity and regarded as reverse bank of genetic information. It's exclusively responsible for maintaining identity of different species of organism over millions of years. DNA controls every aspect of cellular function. Nucleic acids are formed by polynucleotide. That means they are the polymers of nucleotides. So, nucleotides are the building blocks of nucleic acid. If you can remember, like polypeptides, proteins are formed of polypeptides. That means amino acids are the building blocks. They combine together to form polypeptides. They are the of proteins. Okay. So similarly, polynucleotides, their building blocks are nucleotides held by 3' 5' phosphate bridges. There are three components of nucleotide. One is a nitrogen base, the pentose sugar, and the third one is the phosphate. The nitrogen bases are of two types, purines, pyrimidines. Purines are of two types. One is adenine and the other is guanine. While pyrimidines in DNA, it is cytosine and thymine, while in RNA, it is cytosine and uracil. Pentose sugar in RNA, it is the ribose form, while in DNA, it is the deoxyribose. And then the third component, the phosphate. These are the structures of purines and pyrimidines. They are heterocyclic aromatic compound. Purines are composed of pyrimidine ring fused with the imidazole ring. Now let's see how they are numbered. Pyrimidine, it is numbered from here. It is numbered in the clockwise form. While purines, they are starting from here. This is the 1 number, and then it is anti-clockwise. Okay, it is anti-clockwise. These are the structures of purines and pyrimidines. The difference between thymine and uracil is thymine has a methyl group. The pentose sugar. Pentose sugar are in the beta formose form. And if you can see here, the labeling is a little bit different than the nitrogen, so that there won't be any confusion. Here, instead of 1, 2, 3, it is 1', 2', 3, 4 and 5'. Okay. Just see the difference between a ribose and a deoxyribose. Deoxyribose doesn't have it has one less oxygen. Here it is hydroxyl group. Okay. So it is deoxy on the second carbon. So it is deoxyribose. Now let's see how the nucleotides are formed. First, the nitrogen base combines with sugar and form nucleoside. So they form deoxyadenosine, guanosine, cytidine, thymidine. This is how the nucleosides are named. These nucleosides, that is the sugar and the nitrogen base, they are linked by beta N glycosidic bond, because it is a sugar and it is glycosidic bond and there is a nitrogen. So that's why it is beta N glycosidic bond. There is a difference between the purine linkage and the pyrimidine linkage. This is the purine nucleoside. So in the purine nucleoside, it is linked by the 1 prime of pentose sugar with the N9 of the nitrogen base. So it is 1, 9. While in the pyrimidine, it is 1 prime 1. So it is 1, 1. So here the nitrogen is first carbon, N1, while here it is the N9. That is the difference between a purine nucleoside and a pyrimidine nucleoside. Now, how the nucleotide is formed. Nucleoside, it esterifies with phosphate group. It esterifies with phosphate group to form the nucleotide. See how it is esterified? It is esterified on the 5th carbon of the sugar. So this is one nucleotide, that is with a nitrogen base, with a sugar and a phosphate group. So this forms one single nucleotide. Now depending upon the nitrogen base, it can form 4 different nucleotides. This nitrogen base changes. Either it can be adenine, guanine, cytidine or thymine. So it will form deoxyadenosine monophosphate, deoxyguanosine monophosphate and so on. Now here you can see there is one phosphate bond. So it is AMP. Now if it one more phosphate binds, it becomes ADP. Deoxy ADP, and then the third ATP it forms, it becomes deoxy ATP, GTP, CTP and TTP. Just see the names, how it is named. Like this is the RNA, for the RNA basis. So adenine, it forms the nucleoside is known as adenosine, while the nucleotide is known as adenylate. It can also be called as adenosine monophosphate. In the similar way, guanosine, guanylate, uridine, uridylate, cytidine, cytidylate. Now coming to the deoxy or the DNA basis. DNA basis, you have to remember 3 things. One is that in the RNA, it was ribo. Here it is known as the deoxyribonucleoside. So the namings will be deoxyadenosine, deoxyguanosine. Okay. And when you see the nucleotide, it will be deoxyadenylate and deoxyguanylate. Now the thing, thymidine is found only in DNA. So instead of writing deoxy, you can just write thymidine also. You don't have to mention deoxy. That you can write in both the ways. Either you write it as deoxythymidine or you just write thymidine. It is both will be considered. In the similar way in thymidylate. Then you have to remember one more thing. In AMP, when it was ribonucleotide, you just wrote it as AMP. While it is deoxyribonucleotide, you have to write prefix D, a small d. It will become deoxy-AMP, deoxy-GMP. Thymidylate, as I said, if you don't write D, it's considered. If you write also, it is well and good. Okay. So we saw how one single nucleotide is formed. Now, how a polynucleotide is formed. So now we will go for the linking of the different nucleotides. Now, as I said, for the proteins, it is the peptide bonds which combines the amino acids. Okay, and that's the how it forms the polypeptides. Now here in the polynucleotides, if you can see, this is one nucleotide. This is the second nucleotide. The linkage between the first nucleotide and the second nucleotide is known as the 3' 5' phosphodiester bond. Just see, this is the 3' end. This is a third carbon of the deoxyribose, and this is the 5th carbon, this one. This one is the 5th carbon of the deoxyribose sugar of the second nucleotide, and this is the phosphate. So there is a link between 3' and the 5' in presence of phosphate, and that forms the 3' 5' phosphodiesterase bond. This is, yeah, you can see this phosphate is free, and that is the 5' end, and here this is a 3' end. So this third carbon of the deoxy, this hydroxyl group is free. So the third nucleotide will come and bind over here. Okay, so have a look. In this way it can form. This is the first nucleotide, second, third, fourth, fifth, and this is the 5' to the 3' end, and the 5th 5 prime phosphate, first one is free, and the last, the 3 hydroxyl group here, it will be free, and it is forming this bonds, and this is the bridge. So we usually say the nucleotides are formed, they have a 3 prime 5 prime phosphodiesterase bridge. Okay, now the whole DNA, one strand of DNA, it is having phosphate on the hydrophilic side, or you can say the periphery side, and on the inner side you will find the nitrogen bases. So the inner side is the hydrophobic base which are stacked together. Can you see? These are the stacked together. So this is one single strand of DNA. Now, if you remember, DNA is a double stranded. Okay. So come, let's see the DNA structure. This is the DNA structure. The DNA, this is a double helical structure of DNA, was proposed by Watson and Crick. By the elucidation of DNA structure, it's considered as the milestone in the era of modern biology. Now, if you see this diagram, the structure of DNA, you can compare it with a spiral staircase, like a ladder. This is the phosphate and the base phosphodiesterase bridge, you can say. With the phosphate and base, this is considered as the handrail, and these inner side, that is a nitrogen base, you can consider as the steps, and that's why this is compared to a twisted ladder. Okay, so now see, let's see what's the DNA structure. What are the salient features of the DNA structure? First thing is, it is right-handed. It is twisted, that is the helix are twisted towards the right side. So it is right-handed double helix. There are 2 strands, okay, and they are twisted around each other on a common axis. There is an imaginary axis around which the 2 polydeoxyribonucleotide strands twist around each other to form a helix. Second feature, it is anti-parallel. Now, what does anti-parallel mean? These 2 strands, one run in a 5 prime 3 prime direction, while the other run in 3 prime 5 prime direction. Now, let me show you what does that mean. See, this strand, this one is 5 prime. It starts with the 5 prime side, and this way it ends at 3 prime. Okay, and the similar way, the other strand, it starts with the 3 prime end, and it ends at the 5 prime end. So can you see? Both the strands are running opposite. One is from 5 prime to 3 prime. The other is running from 3 prime to 5 prime. So they are anti-parallel. Now let's see what's the dimensions. That's the width of the double helix. The double helix, the twisted spiral double helix of the DNA has a width. This much is the width. It is around 2 nanometer. Okay, and the twist, there is this one turn or one helix is around 3.4 nanometer. Now this one turn has 10 base pairs of nucleotides. Now if you see the gap between each base pair is at a distance that's wide. If you divide by 3.4, it comes to 0.34 nanometer. Okay. Now this double helix has a major groove. This is the major groove, the gap. Okay, and the second gap, this small gap, this is known as a minor groove. This is the major groove, these are the minor groove. These grooves are important for the proteins to interact with DNA without disrupting the base pairs and the double helix. Now the next point is the base pairing rules. The 2 polynucleotide chains are not identical to each other, but they are complementary to each other. Now, what's complementary? According to Chargaff's rule, one purines combines with a pyrimidine. That means the content of adenine is equal to that of thymine and guanine equals to that of cytosine. So, according to Chargaff's rule, A always pairs with T and G always pairs with C or vice versa. So, can you see here? This is the thymine and adenine. So, if it is a RNA, it will be uracil instead of the thymine. And for cytosine, it is guanosine, or guanosine, it is cytosine. So, this is the Chargaff's rule, that is, they are complementary to each other. Now, if you can see the diagram, this is one strand 5 to 3 prime and this is the second strand 3 prime to 5 prime. Now, these two strands are held together by the hydrogen bonds. These are the hydrogen bonds which are formed between the complementary base pairs. These are the complementary base pairs. Can you see? A and T. So, between A and T, there is 2 hydrogen bonds and between G and C or CG, there is 3 hydrogen bonds. Coming to the polarity. In DNA, the base sequence are always written from 5 prime to 3 prime end. This is called polarity of the DNA. That means if on the 5 prime end, the nitrogen base is adenine, cytosine and the thymine, then it is always written as ACT and not rather as the TCA. Okay, so this is known as the polarity of DNA. It is always written from 5 to 3 end. Genetic information resides only on one strand of the DNA and that strand is known as the template strand or non-coding strand and the opposite strand is known as the coding strand. Now let me explain to you how it is. Now any one of the, like this strand, if this strand is transcribed into the mRNA, so this strand is known as the template strand. Okay, and this strand will have the codes for the protein synthesis. So this is having the code of the protein synthesis. Now if you compare this with the non-template strand of the DNA, the only difference between this strand and this strand is that here there is T, it is replaced by U on this strand. So this strand you can call it as the coding strand because this and this strands are similar and that's why this is also known as non-template strand or the coding strand. Okay. So that was about the DNA structure and its salient features. Now below this video there is a link to the written answer of my question. Now if you want the answer, you can just click on the link. Those who haven't subscribed, please do so you can get updates of my next video. Okay, that's it. Thank you.